It is so good to see you today. Woo! And we got some people social distancing. We don't really like that word. We call it physical distancing. We've had some changes going on around here, if you know what I'm talking about. And I know you have changes going on in your life. And if you're leading in this day and time, I promise you, you're leading change. Some that you're implementing and a lot that somebody else is implementing. And flexibility is the key. Would you agree with me on that? How many of you know somebody that needs to change? Can I just get a witness in here? How many of you know if people saw the world the way you saw it and would do what you say, it would probably be a better world? Would you agree with me? How many of you have somebody right now in your life, you're leading them, and they need to make some changes, but they don't see that they need to make those changes, so they fight you. And you have to be really careful when you start to implement change because people don't like change. Like a man told me the other day, he said, my wife loves progress, she just doesn't like change. And so I'm not getting in the middle of that one, I'm just letting you know what's going on, all right? But there are four things, let me just do a little bit of foundational stuff here. There are four things that leaders have to do. I don't care what you're leading, I don't care where you're leading, you have to do these. We have to do them at G5. You have to do them in your business. You have to do them in your home. You have to do them in your life. And I get the privilege to not only coach people, but mentor people. And we have a conference coming up here called Elevate. It will be the last weekend in June. And it's going to be crazy. And I'm going to be talking about the difference between coaching and mentorship. Coaching is where I help you get better at what you do. Mentorship is when I help you get better at who you are. And here's why that's critically important. As you and I get better at who we are, we do differently. And we operate and perform at a whole nother level. And all of us that are together today right now, that are hearing my voice, we all got another gear in us. We've got more potential. There's more in us. There's something bigger that needs to be done. And we need to make some changes in order for that to happen. So the first thing that you got to do is you got to create positive change. And I'm going to start talking about change today, making those changes. I will tell you that this is without a doubt, and I will repeat this later, is probably the greatest test of any leader, is your ability to create and move positive change in any organization and any life. Like right now in our world, would you agree with me that there needs to be some changes? Would you agree with me if you got vulnerable enough that maybe there's a few things in your and my life that needs to change in our leadership? Maybe in the way we deal with relationships, maybe how we deal with our finances, maybe how we take care of ourselves, maybe in our priorities. We need to make some adjustments in these changes. Notice I didn't just say change. I said positive change. The first thing a leader has to do is create positive change. You will be remembered for the positive changes that you brought, or you'll be remembered for the drag and the lack of changing that you needed to make that you did not make. Go study history of companies, of corporations, and find out how many of those companies, I don't care who they are, at one time were the biggest, they were the baddest, they were the best. But because they refused to make positive changes, they went out of business. It's amazing how you can be on the right track, but if you sit still, you can still get ran over. Create positive change. Can I just mentor you for a moment? What are 5 changes that you need to make right now in your life, in your thinking, in your mindset, in your belief system? Don't get me started, but can I tell you, leaders, so many times people come to me and they go, will you help me do something? And it's different than anything they've ever done. And the first thing they want me to do is change their thinking. But I want to tell you, leaders, and I want to challenge you at the same time, that before you can help somebody do something different, you have to help them not just think differently. The first thing you've got to do is help them believe differently. What do you believe about you that is wrong? What do you believe about your circumstances that is wrong? What do you believe that needs to change so that your thinking will change and new ideas and new concepts will come available to you once you change that limiting belief that's inside of you or wrong belief and start thinking a new thought. New thoughts bring new actions. And then all of a sudden your do changes and it's powerful. So you got to create positive change. The second thing is you have to cast clear and compelling vision. Clear and compelling vision. What is vision? Vision is a picture of what could be, of what should be, of what will be. Vision is a picture of tomorrow today. You show me the picture of your tomorrow and I will show you your future. You show me the picture of your life and yourself and I will show you the picture of you. You show me the picture of your relationships and I will show you your future relationships. You show me the picture of your marriage and I will show you the picture that's coming forth in your life and in your marriage. You show me how you see and picture your children and I will promise you it's going to absolutely determine how you raise, how you equip, how you empower, how you coach, how you correct in their lives. Vision is just so critically important. Oh, don't get me started. I want to spend an hour here and I won't. But I want to tell you what separates you from everybody else in your life. What separates you from everybody else in your industry. What separates you from everybody else in your friendships is your picture of tomorrow. And so much of it begins with your picture of you. What do you believe about you? What do you see in you? The way you walk, the way you dress, the way you talk, where you eat, what you drive, where you hang out, the friends you choose in your life has so much to do with how you see yourself. Isn't it amazing that God, when he touches a man or a woman's heart, the first thing he did was he changed their name. Why did he change their name? He changed their name because he wanted to change their identity. And when you change somebody's identity, you change the vision of how they see themselves. You are no longer a picture of what you used to be. Forget those former things. Look ahead. Something great is ahead of you. Your greatest successes are out in front of you. So some of you are leading companies and organizations and churches. Hey, let me just tell you, the vision of the leader is going to be the vision of the church. The vision of the leader is going to be the vision of the corporation. The vision of the leader in the family is going to be the vision of that family. Where there is no vision, people perish. Where there is no vision, people give up. Where there is no vision, people stop and quit and give up. Where there is no vision, we make really bad decisions. So, clear, compelling vision. How clear is it in your life? The third thing is you got to solve problems. I don't care what you're leading, you've got to solve problems. And you and I are going to be remembered for the problems we create or the problems that we solve. Anybody in this room besides me, anybody listening to me right now, ever wanted to do something great, but you can't get past the problems that are in the room? Oh, come on, I'm talking better than you're talking back to me. Every one of you right now have something that you want to do in your life, but you cannot get the problem that's keeping you from your future. You can't get it solved. Probably because we don't want to change. Probably because we don't want to make the adjustments. Can I ask you a question? As a leader, what would you give right now for 10 of the most incredible problem solvers in this world? How many of you got a dream or a vision, but you don't yet have the team of people that can make that vision come to life? Because right now, what's standing in the way of attracting the right people is we need to solve a couple of problems. Maybe your culture is sick. Maybe the vision is not clear. Maybe we allow problems to stand when we should say we're going to remove them. Have you ever tolerated problems in your life? I found out that most people tolerate their lives, they don't lead their lives. The fourth thing is that leaders have to raise leaders. Leaders that raise followers get into addition, but leaders that raise leaders get into multiplication. I like multiplication. I love multiplication. So let's go back to number one, creating positive change. Let me tell you 4 things that leaders know about leadership and they know about creating positive change. Number one, they know that leadership continually has to change. Comfortability, getting comfortable. Like some of you, you're like me. I like things to get comfortable. I like to get everything settled in. And then I don't like you moving my cheese. I don't like you moving it. And some of you right now, you have people in your life that are a real gift because honestly, they keep stirring up through change that creates the hunger and the desire and the need for growth. Wow. Leaders know that change is a lifelong thing. Can I tell you something that concerns me in my life is that I would ever stand in the way of the growth of people or an organization because I was not willing to change. To change. If you say this, well, this is just how we've always done it, you're probably in trouble. If you say, well, this is just the way I am, you're probably in trouble. Do you have somebody in your life that loves you enough that like a mother eaglet will do to her little babies, if they won't get out of the nest, she will literally push them out of the nest? How many of us need to be pushed in order to get into an uncomfortable situation so that the growth that we need in our lives and our organizations happens? The second thing is that people have a tendency to resist change. They don't like it. The first question, literally, if you're leading something, when you change something, do you know what their first question is? By the way, that's why we really train on how to create change, and I'll do that. But can I tell you, the first thing that they think about is, what am I going to lose? Anytime you change anything, even making positive changes, the first question they think about is, what am I going to lose? That's why leaders, sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up. We need to come and communicate. Guys, here's the vision. Here's where we're headed. Here's the changes that I feel like we're going to need to make. Does anybody else see something I don't see? As a leader, do you know what I don't like? I don't like it when people come to me after we've already made the change and it didn't work out quite the way we thought it could. They come and say, well, I could have told you that before you started. I'd be like, you come over here. I got a 2x4 with your name on it. I just want to let you know that. Pastors shouldn't talk like that, but that's kind of how I feel. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you can always tell when somebody's talking down to you or they're trying to create the vision to go up. Do you know what I'm talking about? As a leader, we really, in our culture, I don't know about your culture, we never speak down to anybody. We only speak up. Why? We are commanded to do those things that only build people up. Now, can I tell you, sometimes people go, well, that just means we're just like really nice people. Yeah, we are nice people. But it also means that we're not afraid to speak the truth in love. The truth in love. I just want to tell you this, leaders. 20% of the people, whenever you're leading anything, 20% will always be against it. They just don't like it. We at G5, we're growing. And believe it or not, we're putting more and more seats in. And until this physical distancing thing happened, we were really on the edge. And there were some people that came and said, well, I don't like it now that the building is so packed out we can't get in. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. We got a little extra room right over here with a TV in it. You can just sit in there. But can I tell you, there are some people that are just against growth. They want to keep things the way they were. How many of you right now are experiencing that in your life? The third thing is that growth equals change. Man, I just had a conversation on my way here with a leader, and I talked about the fact that in life, one of the most painful things that can ever happen to you is for you to get in a relationship where you grow and somebody around you decides not to. Wow. I have so many people come to me who are just so crushed because they're reading and they're growing, and the people that they love have decided to stop. I want to tell you this, leaders, and you need to know this, okay? Anytime you grow and you keep growing, you will create some conflict. You'll create conflict. It's okay. Learn how to resolve it. Communication is key. Let me give you two things. One is don't ever let an issue get greater than the relationship. Don't ever let the issue get greater than the relationship. Don't ever get the change that we're going to make, let it get greater than the relationship. That doesn't mean we don't make the change. It just means I value the person, not devalue the person in the change. Are you with me? Critical. The second thing is always attack the problem, not the person. Attack the problem, not the person. Growth equals change. Now, I've got to warn you, change does not always equal growth. A lot of people just change things to change things. And it doesn't equal growth. And I want to tell you, leaders, if you change things too quick, if you change things without letting people be a part of it, let me tell you one of the greatest leadership lessons I ever learned in my life. I keep learning it. People don't have to have their way, but they do like their way considered. And one of the things I love to do in any type of a leadership meeting, I love to ask people what their opinions are. And the reason I love to ask what their opinions are, and now I'm giving some of my secrets away, is that all right? Is I want to see if they value other people's opinions. I want to see if they have to have their way or if they're looking for the way that we can agree on. How many of you know in life, perfect is not really a part of life? All you control freaks right now don't like this because I'm a recovering perfectionist. I understand. I know about that. But perfect is not anything you'll ever get to. That's why we have decided around here that excellence is going to be our goal. We're going to make mistakes. It's not going to go the way we always planned. But one of the things I love to do is get the people together to find out how they deal with and implement and share the idea of change. Critical. As a leader, I would encourage you to know your players. Know your players. Know if they're maturing. Know if they can have the idea that's inside of them that says, I want to share my heart, I want to share my idea, but when it all boils down, we're going to agree and we're going to walk outside of this room and we're going to be unified. Let me tell you something about the enemy. The enemy can never unify. They'll act like they're unified, but they never get unity. And once pressure is applied, they turn on each other. Watch them. Why? There's nothing in their DNA. There's nothing in their insides that makes them want to be agreeable. Isn't it interesting that the good book says, agree with your adversary? See, you think if you agree with somebody, you're telling them they're right. You're not doing that. You're just going, I'm not fighting about it. Do you hear me? This is bigger than you know. The fourth thing we know is this, that the biggest test of a leader is to create positive change. I want to ask you as a leader, when you walk into a room, do you bring positive change? At G5, we continually have, if you'll allow me, I'm a pastor, so I'm going to talk this way. God continually brings these people who are called and anointed, who have the heart, who want to serve, who keep making the vision that this house has been given, making it come alive. Now, if you know me at all, at one time we had 500 employees, had 5,000 volunteers, 180 nations. We did schools and medicine and Bibles and pastor support, everything you would do around the world. One of the things I found out is I could hire a missionary and send them to a land for $100,000 a year is about what it cost, or I could get a local to do it for about $2,500 a year. Now, I'm not a genius. I don't have a college degree in math, but I like spending $2,500 to do the same thing that it costs somebody else to do $100,000. Can I get a witness in here, right? It's not that I'm cheap, but I could be a good steward. Do you know what I'm talking about? So how do I get more done in less time? How do I be wiser with the time and the talent and the treasure and the touch that's been given me? Well, can I tell you, these big dreams came, and about 10 years ago, I kind of decided that I didn't want to run that big mammoth thing anymore. I wanted to really be a part of equipping the body to do the work that it's called to do. But every day here, it's amazing to me how when your vision is clear, that God will begin to send people to you to help that vision become a reality. I'll brag more on those people later, but not right now. The biggest test of any leader is to create positive change. Now, I would normally stop right now and say, hey, catch up. You can go get this on our app, and you can download it. But let me tell you what I'm finding out in this changing world that we live in right now. Are you with me? If you're with me, say, uh-huh. If you're with me out there, say, uh-huh. Would you agree with me in this changing world that we live right now that everything is moving faster? Everything is moving faster. Even though we went through this quarantine, okay? It's 2020, and they have this little virus come out, because somebody's going to be listening to this 10 years from now and going, okay, what are they talking about? But this virus come out, and everybody went quarantined. But even in the middle of our slowdown, everything is speeding up. Everything is moving faster. I will tell you this, and I'm asking you, do you agree? Every decision I make seems to be more complicated. Have you found that in your life? It's funny, you think that raising children, that when they're youngest would be the toughest, but as they mature, it seems like it can get more complicated. When you're dating, things seems like, woo! And then you walk down an aisle. And you wake up the next morning and go, is that the person I decided to spend the rest of my life with? Would you agree with me also that every value is constantly challenged? Your values and your principles are going to be challenged now more than ever. Can I just tell you, without being political, can I tell you one of the things that we're wrestling with in our world right now? Am I going to choose safety over freedom? All through history, the greatest lie is that you can have a safe life. There is no safety. A plane is safer on the ground than it is the air, but it will wear out so much faster because it was created to fly. A ship is safer in a harbor than it is in the ocean, but it will wear out and rust out way faster. If you do not get into your destiny, if you do not get in your purpose, if you do not stay in your purpose, don't get mad at me. My name's Tim. I watch these people. They jump from place to place and people to people. I want to beg you today, get planted. Get planted. Because if you don't get planted, you know what's going to happen? Hey, you can get planted and still move. Don't misread me. But I got to tell you, I used to run a landscaping business. And these blessed little ladies would want me to uproot flowers and bushes over and over again. And every time I would just cringe because I knew I took that precious flower and plant out of the environment that it needed to be in to grow. And I ripped its roots apart. You not only need to grow wide, you need to grow deep. So in your life, you're going to be challenged. So I want to encourage you to understand these things. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. You can try to slow it down. It's going to happen. The second thing, change can be good or it can be bad. Would you agree with that? Yeah. What I do want to let you know is our response to change is what's crucial. That's what's crucial. Plant. Plant. Don't be like something that's blown all around. One day it's here, one day it's there. That doesn't mean you can't move. But what you're planted in, even while you're moving, really is critical. That's why connection is everything. So, in our lives, when we get to change, we can run from it. Have you ever done that? Or we can react. You say, Tim, what do you mean? Well, I can run, I can cover it up. I can go, I don't need to make these changes, and I can just keep running from it until I get confronted. Are you with me? And then I can react. I can either be proactive or reactive. How many of us right now have changes in our lives that honestly we need to make, and I need to decide, am I going to run, or am I going to react, or am I going to be proactive? I would encourage you, great leadership, I believe, is being proactive. That's why vision is so critically important. If you're going to win a Super Bowl, would you believe with me that in preseason and during the games you would be preparing for wearing that ring? In your life, you've got to prepare, or you're going to spend the rest of your life repairing. Prepare or repair. So I want to tell you, in your life, you're going to find out these things are real. People around you are going to change. Anybody around you right now changing? I've been married 29 years, but I can tell you those 29 years have not been married. Even though it was the same woman, it was not the same woman. She changed. I read all the books, and she wasn't in any of them. So in life, can I tell you, as much as we want it to stay the same, people are going to change. Have you ever had anybody say to you, if they haven't, I hope they will, well, you're just not the same as you used to be? Thank you, I've been working on that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but you don't do what you... No, I decided I didn't want to do that. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I did childish things, but now I've grown a little bit. Do you hear me? How many of you know personal circumstances change? Jobs, money, relationships. I don't have to go through that list. Circumstances change. How many of you have had everything just the way you like it? That's the way. Anyhow, I got ADD. So here's what I can tell you. Circumstances will change. If you read the Bible, you're going to find out circumstances changed. Just when you think you've got it the way you want it, it'll change. That's why being planted is so critical, and what you believe and who your friends are critical in navigating great change in life. How many of you know that religious climates even change? Daniel would tell you that Nebuchadnezzar was a changing dude. So here's what I want you to know. People change, circumstances change, climates may change around you. What do you and I do? I'm glad you asked. Let's go back and let's implement, and in my next session with you, I will teach on how to implement positive change so that you get the growth that blesses you. And I'm going to say this, glorify God. It glorifies God. And so as you begin to move in your life, though, remember, you have to do these 4 things. I have to create positive change. I have to cast clear and compelling vision. I have to solve problems. And I have to raise leaders. Now, my wife wrote a book that I don't have to, I get to. So I get to create positive change. I get to solve problems. I get to cast vision. And I get to raise leaders. It's your time. Charge. Go for it. All right. It's so good to have all of you here today. I'm so glad you're here. Anybody got a leadership question? Anybody got anything on that you want to talk about? Change. Anybody try to change? Anybody got a story?
I got Tim. You were talking about casting your television.
Yes.
Vision is a picture, and then it went so fast. I didn't get what you said.
Vision is a picture of tomorrow today. Vision is a picture of what could be, of what should be, of what will be. When you cast vision, this is the kind of stuff will go on. Well, Bree's gonna get this stuff up. I'm so fired up. Woo, she's so precious. When you cast vision, you got to let people know this is what I want you to know. This is what I want you to do. And this is how I want you to feel. Are you with me? Anybody have questions on that? So picture of what could be, of what should be, of what will be. It's a picture of tomorrow today. No, do, and feel. That's why when I'm done, you guys joke about it. But when I'm done speaking, I appreciate you telling me it touched you and it did all that. The number one question I have, was I clear? Clear. And that's why it's a joke now with the studio team around here, because when we're done, they go, clear! So it's like really fun because I want to be clear. Because you can speak and move people, you can inspire people, but without clarity, people leave confused. And if they are confused, whew, look out. The destruction of your company or your church is already started. Yeah, so started. Did I get you? Okay, all right.
Can you elaborate on the feel?
Yeah, so know is knowledge and clarity, right? Doing is I'm calling to action. Feeling is if somebody leaves me and they don't feel what I spoke about. That's why stories are so incredibly important when it comes to feelings, right? When I tell you a story, it automatically connects to a feeling that's inside of you. I want them to leave with a feeling of, I believe, I'm encouraged, I'm uplifted, I'm challenged. See, I was raised in the church in my childhood, that when people came to church, the guiltier we could make you feel, the better we thought we were at what we did. But people automatically feel guilt. They need to know how they can get out of feeling guilty and feel forgiven and free. Whom the Son sets free. So I'm going to work on that on a big way, and we'll break down the communication of change as we move forward so guys can lock and load on this. Yes?
You talk a lot about who you are in terms of what you do.
Yep.
And that was, you were talking about that a little today. Is there any point where you've learned about yourself that what you do changes? Like, is it gradual or is it?
Yeah, so you all know my brother. My brother never meets a stranger. I'm basically, believe it or not, a pretty shy person. I'm shy. I will hang in the back. I will do, for me to walk into a room and go, hey, how are you? I have to practice that. I have to stay on that, or I will hang back. I'm a processor. I love charts. I love graphs. I love information. I'm a crazy guy, and I mess people up because they know I'm a feel guy, because I've trained myself to be a feel guy, but I'm more of an information person. I get fired up about information that's clear, but without feeling, you can't move people. And the most beautiful thing when you study the life of Jesus is that he met a woman caught in the very act of adultery. Whew, these things make me cry. And she never felt judgment. She felt love, so much that he said, daughter. See, if I can get people not to label themselves in what they used to be, in the mistakes of their life, in the weakness of their lives, to get them out of the prisons of their yesterday and launch them into the vision of their tomorrow. That's why the value, and this is, now we're talking, okay? But it's why when God speaks to you, he never speaks to you about your yesterdays. He only speaks to you about your future. When he deals with you, he goes, I know, here's where we're going. It's why most of the time I used to counsel a lot. I don't anymore. I coach people and mentor people. Because when you counsel, you keep going through yesterday. And I'm not saying there's not some value in it, but once I uncover it and go, why are you behaving today the way you're behaving? Why are you struggling with what you're struggling with? It's because of this. Now let me tell you how we change it. God makes all things new. Here you are. This is what you're going to do. Well, I used to be shy. That's right. You used to be shy. So how do I get over shyness? Understanding that charisma, they say, man, that person has charisma. Do you know what charisma is? Charisma is defined as how I make other people feel when they walk in my presence. It's not what you think about me. It's what I think about you. It's why I meet you in the parking lot. Larry, how are you? Good to see you. Well, you're just fake. No, I'm not. I understand that people have 4 basic needs. And if you don't meet those needs, they're going to go somewhere else. That's why from the parking lot to here, we have 5 touches. Good to see you. Welcome home. Yay. We're validating people. That's why people that don't do that, sometimes they don't help. They don't help. I'm not saying we got to jump on people. You know how people do that? And that's why you've got to learn to discern people. So we'll talk about this at Elevate. Are you ready? Awareness is knowing what? Self-awareness is knowing why. So how do I move in that? Most people, I find out their behaviors and their words, they don't even know they're doing it. They're disrespectful, they're dishonoring, they don't even know they're doing it. I'm amazed at how people talk to each other. They don't understand. It's not that I don't have the capacity or you don't have the capacity to be mean and disrespectful and dishonoring. And it just means, it's like really seriously. It's why so many people right now have dogs. Because they get no feeling from the person they live with. But a dog will let you know exactly how it feels. So good to see you. Right? Okay. Did that help, Seth? Did I get you? Okay. Anybody else got another question? Yes, sir. He'll give you a mic so you can.
I understand the idea of vision, but what I've seen is people get one vision, and then as things change, they stick with that other one. And then things fall apart. Or usually they're like, I got to go with that other guy's plan.
Yeah. So, that is such a great question. Because a lot of times people try to steal somebody else's vision. And that used to really bother me. But then I realized, now don't get mad at me, and this is going to be very confusing, okay? But I realized sometimes some people's vision is to serve the vision that's already there. So I used to get mad because people didn't have these big visions. But then all of a sudden I started to realize that their calling and their destiny and their purpose in life was to serve the vision that was in the house. That's why, man, when you start to understand submission, even in marriage, it's not about somebody bowing down to another person. It's actually submitting yourself to the greater mission that you're both called together. And that's why when I talk to couples about why are you together? Why do you want to be married? Why do you want to be united? If you are not, the Bible says that then you have absolutely gotten yourself in the position where you now are unequally yoked. And vision is something that we can unite around and we can have vision around. But the problem of it is, and you got to have people in your life, right? My son's a massive dreamer and visionary like I am. My wife and my daughter are a little more like they, very respectful. They go, Daddy, can we just talk about this right now? Because right now I'm doing this right now, but I'm actually already over in the other building that seats 800 people. That's where I'm speaking from right now. But I'm in here, and we're going to use this. And eventually, you're going to find out we're going to have 4 or 5 buildings here, and I'll be running from building to building to building, touching these different companies and corporations that come in. Different pastors, missionaries from Brazil. They're coming from the north, south, east, and west. They're coming in. Yeah, so, you're one of those guys that here you are, you show up. So I'm going to get personal for a second. I'm going to embarrass Amy for a second, all right? But in my heart, and Josh, I'm looking how right now, we used to put $300 million worth of aid around the world. Food, medicine, Bibles, all of that. And one day I woke up and said, I'm not going to be a CEO for the rest of my life. I'm called by God to pastor and lead and train and equip. And so I shut that down. But can I tell you something? The vision never left me. And then one day I'm sitting in here, and Josh gets in the food industry, and then Amy comes in and starts talking about her desire. Well, now we're having a meeting, and now Joe Santa was in the middle where we used to reach 88,000 kids. And now God will trick you. Because I got so beat up and so exhausted, I was like, I don't ever want to do that again. And now I'm going, ooh, maybe if God brings the people with the gifts, the talents, the connection, and the ability, that they'll close the door. So as a church, we're going to have a lot of outreaches here. Like I have a friend named Matt Aubin, whose son, 5 years old, passed away. No reason, no rhyme, no nothing. But he caught his first fish off of this dock out here. So I now want to start a ministry here, and Matt's going to help, and Carlos and some other guys, that literally parents who've lost young children, we're going to be able to start a program where they can come out and they can fish. But it's more about dads and moms spending time with their children than it is about catching a fish. But that pole is a connection. So vision. What is the vision? But it's hard to do anything great if you don't plant. You got to plant. You can't do it on a move in, move out. Now, there are teams that are moving, so I'm not saying. Some people are missionaries, and they're going to be moving, and we're going to be grateful for that, and that's going to be a God thing. Okay, one last question, or we good? Did I get it all in? All right. Guys, what an honor to be with you today. I love you so much. Thank you. Woo-hoo.